All right, good evening. I want to welcome everybody to the October 4th, 2018 Town Board meeting. We survived the blackout of 2018 and the second one, we almost had another meeting outside in the parking lot. It would have been dark, but we would have had it. But anyway, we're going to start the meeting with my newest junior deputy supervisor, Isabella Rodriguez, who's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We remain standing for a moment in silence. Thank you. So now Isabella will get sworn in by our town clerk, Desiree Papin.
I, Isabella, promise to perform the duties of junior deputy supervisor for the month of October 2018 to the best of my ability.
That was terrific. Nice, clear, you did a great job. Very proud of you. And by the way, Isabella did put up all the place marks up there to identify who's on the town board. So she's already working hard for the town of Woodbury. Thank you. Okay. This certificate of acknowledgement, it certifies that Isabella Rodriguez has been bestowed the title of Junior Deputy Supervisor for the month of October 2018, signed Frank J. Palermo, Town Supervisor. Show everybody your new certificate. Well done. Thank you. Now you can go back. You want to sit up here with us during the meeting? Sure. Why not? Okay, now we're going to have one of the greatest public hearings ever founded in the town of Woodbury. It's my favorite public hearing, and it's the assessment rolls. So here we go with number one. I'm going to open the public hearing for the public on any one that has anything to comment on the consolidated sewer water district.
Yes. I gotta read the notice first.
Okay.
Okay. Public notice announcing the public hearing on the assessment rolls for special districts was printed in the Times Herald Record on September 25th and 26th, 2018. These hearings are for the public to correct the special district assessment rolls with regards to the number of units that they are charged for specific properties, not to argue their assessment or the amount of taxes that they pay.
Thank you. So now I'm going to open up the first hearing on the consolidated sewer district. I'm just going to ask if anybody has anything to talk about on that. I didn't think so. Okay, so I need a motion and a second to close the hearing.
I'll motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now I need, do we do it at the end or I got to do each one?
At the end.
Okay. So now we're going to open up the second public hearing for the refuse district. If anybody has any comments on the refuse district, please step up. Okay, I need a motion and a second to close the refuse district, public hearing.
I make that motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We move on to the third, which is the water district number 6. So I'm going, and the park. I'm gonna open up the floor to anybody who has any comments on water district number 6 and the park. I usually like to play the music, anyway. Okay, so I need a motion and a second for close the public hearing on water district number 6 and the park.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We move on to the fourth one. Sewer district number 1, Valley Forge. Any comments? Anybody live in Valley Forge? No. Okay, then I need a motion and a second to close the public hearing on sewer district number 1, Valley Forge.
Motion.
I'll
Make.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the last one, the Highland Lakes Estates Sewer District. Any comments? No. Okay. We're gonna need a motion and a second to close the public hearing, Highland Lakes Estates Sewer District.
I'll motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that closes our session of the public hearing, so now I'm gonna need a motion to accept it, or just close everything?
You need a motion to accept
To
the
adopt.
receipt of the assessment rolls as presented by the assessor's office.
Okay, so I need a motion and a second to accept the assessment rolls as presented this evening.
I'll motion.
Second.
Thank you, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There is a roll call.
Okay,
Councilman Hunter.
Yes.
Councilman Arona.
Yes.
Supervisor Palermo.
yes.
Councilwoman Hernandez.
Yes.
And Councilman Essig is absent. Do you want to vote, Isabella? No? Okay. Okay.
Okay. So now we open up public input for agenda items only. If there's anybody that wishes to discuss something, go ahead.
Robin Kraus, Highland Mills, in regard to the work session minutes, sorry, of October 1st. Under the next item, actually, engagement of accounting services. I had a couple of questions for clarification, if you don't mind. The first one being, in the minutes actually reflects that it's on an as-needed basis, the position. So I was asking, what do you anticipate as needed, and what is the scope of the work?
Scope of the
done as
work,
needed?
the scope of the work is to fill in for Eileen Sutherland, who has been out for personal reasons, and that she was here today for a few hours. It's really to be coming at maybe once or twice a week, put in a few hours to help us. She's got to do the balancing of the balancing of the checkbooks, move any monies that need to be moved, etc. And that's unfortunately Eileen's the only one that does that, so she's coming in and filling in for her.
Right, okay. So that answers actually another question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But actually, I'm still curious though. Eileen is not a CPA, nor am I aware that we have any CPA on staff. So I was wondering why you went that route, and how many firms and individuals were interviewed before you chose, not you personally, but
No, I understand.
the board
We-
chose,
we
this
do
firm or
work-
whatever.
We do work with Denise, she knows our system.
Oh, okay.
She's actually doing the audits for us, and she's very intimate with Impact, which is what we use. So to go around and when you're using someone like them, and I think Joe can verify that, when you're using a consultant, you don't have to go out to bid.
No, I knew that, I
Okay,
was just,
so-
you know,
so that's the
wondering-
reason why
So there
she-
is familiarity, which I
Yes.
was not aware, and I agree with you, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
You know, definitely.
yes, and to be honest with you,
Mhm.
the, Eileen is, the, what's it called again? The senior, that's it, I'm sorry. The senior town account clerk, and it's a very, very difficult test.
Mhm,
It's not easy.
Mhm.
And so, the knowledge that's there
Mhm.
is very valuable, and I'm glad that Denise can do it, so
Right.
it helps us.
Okay, but again, it's a temporary position
Of
until
course it
Eileen
is, yeah, no,
comes
no,
up
no,
with
it's
full
just,
awareness.
as is needed,
Yeah,
as needed, I'm
right,
sorry.
Right, okay, no, as I said, that, you know, really makes perfect sense for the day-to-day operation. You know, obviously you need to keep things moving.
And
Um,
also, just for note,
Mhm.
it's budget season,
Mm-hmm,
so we really need to be up on it, and we've got a lot of, towards the end of the year, you're closing accounts out or adjusting and stuff
Mhm,
like that, so
mhm.
we want someone, I don't want someone coming in and having to do it for 3 months and trying to
Mhm.
figure it out, so
mm-hmm.
it's working.
Yeah, makes sense, makes sense. The other quick question I have is, regarding BAS. Just again, by way of clarification, well, actually, let me go back to the, temporary position. Where are those funds coming from, though? It wasn't really anticipated that Eileen would be out, obviously, but, so how is this
We will-
person getting paid?
We will find it, we have, we'll find it.
Please, okay.
No, we'll find it. To be honest with you, more than likely it'll come from like a fund balance if we have to, but
What fund balance?
the A fund.
Yeah, okay. No, unfunded balance.
If it has, if need be.
Okay. Alrighty, thank you. Anyway, so getting back to BAS, again, just by way of clarification, if I understood correctly at the budget workshop, it's gonna be done in phases, partly this year, but
No.
then with the card system, whatever, that'll come
No,
later
everything's,
on?
no.
Everything is this year?
Everything will be
Huh?
done
So
this
glad I
year.
asked.
No, it'll all be done this year, but
Okay.
more likely Joey would not be putting it into, use with the cards until obviously next year.
Right, okay, but
No,
again,
we
where,
want the system
so where are
done.
the funds for that? You budgeted for an upgrade this year,
We have
but
it,
for the
It's-
full boat though?
yes. We
This
have
year,
it. Yep.
okay.
So
So,
that-
okay, because I knew, as I said, I knew that you discussed it at the work, you know, the first budget workshop, but,
Yeah,
um,
no, it's
it's fully
budgeted.
budgeted this year. Okay, well, thank you. The
You're welcome.
third, very quick third thing, on the actual agenda, there is no public participation at the end of the meeting listed.
Well,
I'm hoping that was just an
No,
oversight.
it's just, I like to use old agendas, and then I just update them, and obviously, last one was, last time we used it, and that's on the second meeting, which has all the
Mhm.
department heads, so
Mhm.
I go off of each and all, and my fault, I take complete credit for it,
I
but
agree.
there will be public hearing at the end.
Appreciate the oversight,
Mhm.
though. Thank
happens.
Thank you for correcting, thanks.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else?
John Smith, Highland Mills. Just as a clarification, when we get to public input, the end, I'll be able to address an agenda item if I feel like it at that time?
It's free and open, John.
Okay. I just wonder if you could tell me something about the approval of the 2018-2019 Justice Court Assistance Program, item 3C. Could you explain what that is by any
I
chance?
will. In order for the judge clerks to apply for any grants, we need to approve this, and then I sign it, and then they can apply, and then they can submit the grants for approval.
Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna hold off till the end of the meeting.
Yeah, we'll reserve your minutes.
Thank
You're welcome.
you. More like hours.
Wait a minute, you said that no paint on any buildings.
Is there anyone else that wishes to discuss?
You know what I'm
agenda
talking about,
item?
right?
Hello, Stephen Hunter, Highland Mills. I'm sure you'll probably go through some of this when you talk about the tentative budget that's listed here. I guess, and as some of the other folks said, maybe we'll sort of follow up at the end of the meeting as well. But I understand that part of the budget proposal for the coming year is a shift of office space to new locations, as well as potential purchase of a new building for some of that office space. And I guess I'm curious if there's been any coordination with the village on any of the talks around need for office space. It's no secret that, here in the town of Woodbury, village of Woodbury, we've had issues around a need for municipal buildings and office space. There was a vote put up for, building a whole new municipal building not that long ago that was voted down. And, I think everyone's been kind of trying to figure out what's the best solution, what's an economical solution, and something that will satisfy the needs of both the village and the town. I think from what I've heard around what some of the solutions are for the town, I think the proposals are interesting. They sound to be quite economical and smart. But what I'm hearing coming from the village side is a proposal for a $3 million addition to the firehouse for offices, which is sort of the opposite of that, which does not seem economical, does not seem prudent for taxpayers. And I know that's a village thing, and we're sort of here talking about town issues. So I guess my main question is really around what, if any, discussions have been had with the village, because if you're sort of going down a path of looking for economical solutions related to your office space needs, can we perhaps steer them in that direction as well, and perhaps coordinate and maybe address some of their needs, as you're moving to find space that works for you. Maybe we can work to find space that works for them and save us $3 million on the village side. I know that some of these needs are long overdue, things like making the court handicap accessible and whatnot. And so, I think I'm really pleased to know that we're making strides in fixing some of that. But just interested to hear from you, and if you will tell me that you're going to get to it throughout the meeting, that's fine, but just wanted to make sure it was something that was addressed in your proposal.
No, I'll answer it right now. We went over to the 615, the professional building. We had no intentions of going there. I was just looking for space for the assessor's office, and she explained to me she had 4,600 square feet. And when I went there, I felt it was large enough to move town hall offices there and be able to move the court down here. We were forced into buying a building because Joey couldn't fit there. So, to make Joey happy, we went out and bought him a building.
Hey, lucky guy.
Please, folks, don't take me so seriously all the time, okay? But, but in the meantime, while I was very piqued about the 4,600 square feet, and I had Al Fusco come in, I had the Desiree, Laura Breslin, and myself went there. Unfortunately, there isn't enough space for the building department. I would have had no problem if they came, but there's just not enough space. We have enough space for what we're going to need. I did meet with the mayor this week. I stopped in to explain to him that once we start coming down here, that the building department would have to find a place, and he was fine with that. He understood. It is my impression that they're going to move forward with a $3 million building. It's nothing that I can actually do, and I don't think I'm gonna be dissuading him on that. But that's their choice. They are a village, they're a government that's an entity amongst themselves as we are. And they don't have to, it's not their job to look for a place for us, and it's not our job to look for a place for them. If they were to come to us and discuss it, it's something that we could consider, but it hasn't been, so we'll move on to what we have to do. As Michael said to me, it's a good move you're making, you do what you know what you have to do, and we'll do what we have to do, and I shook hands and we left. So, that's the situation right now.
I think the other thing, just to reiterate, is we're kind of in an urgent situation here.
Correct.
And so we have a building that's crumbling. It's not safe, hasn't been safe for a while, a long time coming. And, you know, when I met with Councilman Essick and myself met with the mayor and the deputy mayor, they haven't even, they're talking about it, they haven't even broke ground. I don't even think they've even gone in front of the planning board yet. So even if they do decide to move forward, it's
2 years down the road.
Yeah, it's a while down the road, and so we're kind of, you know, really pressed into the situation, and we really just don't have time for, you know, 2 years now. What happens if that building potentially all comes available? We'll see, but we only have 4,600 square feet, and there's still other tenants there, which leases for another, you know, 3 years. That building might become available, you know, completely, but time will tell. We're just a tenant, unfortunately.
Right.
So.
And I just want to add to that also, to what Tim is saying. We did, I know that there was a conversation about the potential of us buying the building at the end of that 3-year mark, if it's available, because the current people that are renting would, you know, depending on whether they continue with their lease or they decide to leave, that would be potential space. You know, I don't know about how much, but there's a lot of potential once our 3-year mark is up. So we did look at a number of different options, and one of them was, you know, we didn't want this to be a long-term solution of leasing, obviously, because in the long run it will cost the taxpayer money. You know, if you purchase a building or build a building, you have equity in that real estate versus leasing. So, you know, our plan is not to do a long-term lease, but at that 3-year juncture, we might be at a different place where we can either purchase the building and have space for that, or, you know, if there's other options that we're gonna pursue, that would be it also.
And just one last thing on the subject. When I called, like I said, I was looking for 500 square feet, and she told me it was 46. And my feeling is I didn't want it to be less, so I felt if we leased it now, instead of waiting, and she leases it to somebody else, then it throws everything off. So it was a move that completely unanticipated, but came at the right time. They say timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the deal with that, Steve.
Okay. And again, I know that the buildings department is not under the town, but in your researching office space options, was there anything that you turned down that could possibly be a fit for that?
No,
for that
in
group?
fact, it's interesting because the building that we're buying, two things. Number one, the village did look at the building that we're leasing back in February, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And they chose not to lease there.
Oh, okay.
And then the second thing is they also had an opportunity, I think about 1.5 years ago, to buy the building that we're buying.
Okay.
And they turned it down. So, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, we did what we had to do, and they said they'll do what they have to do. Okay, then move on.
I mean, it sounds like with the place that you're leasing, that there's an option for potentially more space as tenants move out of that building. I guess I would just, you know, in the interest of the collective Woodbury, if some of those tenants move out and this other venture on the village side hasn't moved forward, you know, just I guess let them know, so that you know, as that could prove to be an economical option for them,
Yeah, we can't do it for them, they.
No, I know, I'm just saying, you
But
know,
I would let them know, yeah.
that would be great.
Besides, that building is about 11,000 square feet.
Right, so it
So,
could, you know,
be
could
more than plenty of room for
could
everyone.
ultimately be a nice spot for everyone.
Correct. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening, Ray Hernandez, Highland Mills. Just to follow up on Mr. Rome, on your statement. It's fair to say that you and Mike Gesser, you guys are the liaisons to the town with respect to the village.
Yes, we're the two town liaisons.
Okay, so is it fair to say, you said you guys met with the village to specifically talk about having one municipal building in this town?
We talked and met in regards to the litigation that was going on, to see if we could come up with a resolution. So, that's what.
You meaning the lawsuit?
Yeah, the lawsuit, and then conversations, came up of, we informed them about the building department that, look, we're in a crisis situation here, and we're going to be, we have to move our assessor down, here's where our different scenarios were. So here's our plans, we're actively looking at leasing the model building, or moving them down here, so we're gonna have to move the building department, and so, it was brought up in regards to conversations about, hey, they're gonna do an expansion, did you guys think about this, would you wanna come in regards to the expansion, like we're in an immediate, crisis situation, and this is gonna be a multi-year project, and we really, we have to address our current situation that we have right now. So really, the main purpose of the meeting was around the litigation, but we kind of had conversations, in regards to informing them about that, and then conversations about buildings did come up.
All right, well, listening to the supervisor talking, or Ms. Hernandez, Mrs. Hernandez, talking about the future purchase of this building that we're leasing, I like to put this board on the spot tonight, and I'd like to ask each board member, are you guys in support of having one municipal building in this community to save, like my partner Steve Hunter mentioned, $3 million for an expansion is a lot of money, and not to mention the expenses on the town side. And so for the purpose of keeping expenses down in this town, and for both boards to work together collectively for the people of this town, I'd like to hear from each and every one of you individually. Are you guys in support of having one municipal building where the village and the town board would work under one roof?
Me personally, I think in an ideal world, yes, that's ideal, but I think also too, timing has a big play of certain things, and I don't know what the village's needs are. My understanding, there's fire department bays that are being added with some offices. I don't know all of the details, but I think, yeah, I think most people would say if you could have everybody under one roof, that would be great, but they might be busting out of their space. I don't know. We're in a situation here where we definitely have to address Arnie, but, you asked the question, ideally, I would say yes, but timing and certain factors, sometimes obviously affects the decisions that we have to do and we're in the village.
Yeah, we had a good plan a couple years ago for a new building that would have housed everything. The taxpayers turned it down, so be it. The fact is that we need to move forward quickly with relocating our assessor from the second floor. We also need to get our records management in place for Desiree. Right now they're scattered in 3 different places. We're renting a place in Central Valley, just some storage. So these would be going into the Osweiler building, which is Parks Department. Ideally, yeah, I would like to see one building, but in reality, just like Tim says, we gotta do what we gotta do to move on and create a safe and healthy environment for the workers and the people who come in here. We can't wait any longer. Time is of the essence.
Thank you.
I'd rather not see a village and everything be under one roof, but I don't think that's happening real soon. The reality of it is, like I said, we're leasing for 3 years, depending on the timing of the village, and if they come and they talk to us and they want to make it a little bigger, and in 3 years it will be completed, and they ask us if we want to be a part of it, it's something that not this board, a future board can consider. If we decide to buy that building and the village decides to hold off on building, and we can buy the building, there'd be plenty of space for everybody, and there'd be no need to, like you say, spend the $3 million. But this is reality. The reality of it is for way too long, our court system has been a sham of this county. We're lucky no one's fallen down those steps or gotten killed. God forbid there's a fire in the building while they're up there. This needs to be addressed. I said that I would address it. I said that I would address the building and safety of the people in the town. And the opportunity came, and I took it along with the board. And I appreciate their support in backing me once, we found this solution. So if that's the case, then would I love it? If that was the case, that's fine by me. I can, I won't lose sleep over it. But what I would do is, if they decide to hold off, that's fine. If not, they don't. The town will do what it has to do. And that's all I can say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I pretty much agree with the board members on the board in regards to the critical situation that we're in right now with when we're talking about the courts. Handicap accessibility is one of our biggest concerns. Right now, if they have to go upstairs to be arraigned with the judge, there's no elevators in the building. This has been a complaint of the building for a long time. The solution that we came up with is minimizing expenses as much as possible. And of course, moving out of the location, on the second floor, we house a number of records in the attic. Again, we have records, these are private resident records that are scattered, and we really need to secure these records a lot more. So having a prime location where we can do this, where the town clerk, as well as the assessor, and the Parks Department has access to these records specifically, and it's limited access. It's very important for our town to be able to secure that, and to secure records, because I believe we lost a lot of records in a flood that occurred because records were down in the basement. These are things that we really can't. The assessor lost maps. These are items, documents, legal documents that we have to secure. So we've really weighed this, and we really are trying not to cost the taxpayer anything more than what we need to. So we've really thought through this, and we've struggled through a lot of the decision making. And I think overall, we're trying to do what's going to be best financially, fiscally responsible for what we need to do for the town.
Mr. Hernandez, there's one other thing. There was the school board, and I guess it might come up in the gossip of Woodbury, aka Facebook or whatever. The school board did approach us many years ago about potentially leasing the Board of Ed building from there, and they changed administrators, and we were close a few years ago when me, Frank, Bob, and we thought we were going there, and the village was going to go in there, and then they changed their mind, and then the new business person came in, and then so that really wasn't even, that would have been a nice solution for all parties involved. And we thought potentially about 2-3 years ago we were going to be able to move there because they were supposedly moving to BOCES, but unfortunately that wasn't an option. But that was an option that was looked at for.
And that would be a beautiful location for both the town and the village.
Yeah.
Even the other building, professional building.
And just to clarify your statement you made, Mr. Supervisor, a few minutes ago, when you say you want to see what the village, you wanna see the village out, or can you clarify on that, cause.
It's called consolidation.
Okay, I just wanna,
Not-
I just
not-
wanna
not
be on,
to
I just
disappear,
wanna be on the same
consolidation.
page that you're not looking to dissolve
Nope.
or,
Nope.
or close the village, but consolidate with the town.
Correct.
Just wanna clarify.
Correct. And
Okay.
just one last thing, with me, with my, talking with the mayor, because I know that they probably gonna have to go and look at rent space also, and so to make it easier on them, I've agreed to let them, because they got the basement, they've got a lot of records down there, I mean, they got a whole room full of it, that they can keep that for as long as they want, because it doesn't interfere with the town's operations, that they can use that area for however long they need it. And if they need more space, they can take even more space, because we intend to empty out our portion of the basement.
And that's the new building.
No, that's right
Oh,
here,
oh, in this
so they don't have to
building.
move
Okay.
it,
Got it.
okay?
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, anybody else? Okay. The green light's gotta go on. Okay.
Get better? Chris Graziano, Highland Mills. Got a couple of questions. One, for Councilman Arone. I just got a little nervous when you said the building's crumbling down. You're not literally mean the building's crumbling down that badly because you're gonna leave the court here.
No, no, no.
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 Yeah. It's the weight. So in the assessor's office, you know, it's sinking, there's some issues, and we did have our town engineer come here and take a look, and, you know, we reduced weight loads, and he said, you know, if we remove the weight that's from the assessor's office, we will be fine. So we're not gonna sit here tonight, and all of a sudden everything's gonna, you know, collapse on us. But we do need to address it. So it's an issue of the weight, so it's, that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Is there gonna be any renovations to this current building to address any of those issues once you move out?
So we spoke about, we want to move the courts down here, and the board hasn't come up with a final decision yet, but we might do some stuff, depending on who gets elected as our state senator. We might get some, you know, potential grants, a couple other things, but if we move the courts down here, it has been deemed, you know, structurally okay to do the courts down here. It's too much weight up on the second floor.
We have not only on the second floor a lot of weight, we've also got it up in the roof, or the attic. So once all that's alleviated, and also I had Al Fusco and the village engineer, not the engineer, building inspector, they both went up and down the basement up. And no, the building's not gonna fall, it's just that we can't, I mean, I've got, in that room there, the courts won, you know, a grant last year, and they got shelves. Well, those shelves weigh a ton, literally. It's 1 ton of weight, just the shelves. We can't put them up, because it's too much weight. So we're waiting, once we move everything out from upstairs, this building should be fine.
All right, just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, no.
It sounded a little dire, the way you said the building was crumbling down. I wanted to make sure that wasn't the
No.
case. Couple more questions as things came up here. The new space you're going to lease, you mentioned maybe potentially wanting to buy that down the road after 3 or 3. Have you negotiated like right of first refusal on this lease for that purpose?
Well, we've spoken to her about it, yes. I've spoken to her.
I don't
about
envy
it.
you, by the way, because I'm moving an office myself, so I understand the pain that's involved in it.
It's not easy, I've been very busy.
So, that going down that road, so the building's 11,000 square feet, you're saying, so if you might want to buy that entire building if the tenants move out, what would be the cost of that? Do you have any estimates on that?
I don't wanna say it in public, no.
Well, it's never gonna know if there's a savings. or
I,
not
well, it
savings
would be.
without
Well, let me
numbers.
put it this way. We had an opportunity, well, 20 years ago to buy it for $1 million, but it hasn't really gone up much. And if you compare buying a building as opposed to building a building, you're talking almost triple the amount to do the same thing. So I can't see buying this building would be a tremendous plus for the town. And I don't think that we're talking, you know, huge, we're talking nice money, but I don't really wanna
No, I just.
tip my hand here.
I was just thinking, you know, you're talking about buying the building, you wouldn't have to consider, would you sell this building if you bought that building? Because
No, I would like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I would like to keep this as the court. I would love to keep this as a courthouse.
Because if you were to buy that building and take it off the tax rolls as a government entity, it really wouldn't be a savings to the taxpayer, because you'd be losing a taxpayer in that building, now, if you owned it as a town.
No, that's true.
So there
Something
would
to
be no
consider.
savings for the taxpayer buying the building versus renting the building, leasing the building at that point.
100% correct. It's all things that we need to think about.
Right.
Chris, are you saying, is it better for us to lease versus buying because of the taxes?
Well, if
Because
you
of
were
the
gonna get rid of this
taxability?
building to buy that building, then somebody could come and develop this, and you would be a swap on your tax roll. If you're gonna take another property off the tax roll as a government entity, you probably wouldn't wanna do that.
The location, we went to visit the location it would be a little difficult because it's already kind of fab building. So it would be difficult for the needs of the courts to relocate them. We would have to figure out then where we would relocate them, whereas this building's already kind of prefabricated for the use that they need it for. So, in this case, there would be a savings in that we wouldn't have to find a new location and purchase a new location for the courts.
And unfortunately too, we looked into, could we temporarily use, say, the courts in Cornwall? You can't for New York, so your courts have to be in the town that you're in.
So, that makes plenty of sense, and I'm gonna say the same thing that Mr. Hernandez just said, is I really, truly believe that the village and the town need to get along. And I think some of the stuff that's going on is kind of ridiculous, and if you're looking to do a building you potentially may buy, you may need to do renovations here, you may need to do renovations at the new building, which is not even being configured into all this, what this is gonna cost, between purchasing the building, between renovating the building. I'm moving my new office to a new building, it's gonna cost $6.5 million just to renovate the building, to put the people in it. So there's a big cost to all this, that may outweigh a $3 million cost. I mean, sooner or later, the big picture has gotta be looked at, and I agree with those two, 100% on that one, is that somebody's gotta look at the big picture and say, what's in this pot, what's in this pot? What you got voted down last time might have been the right pot, after you look at those costs, the way they work out. So that's, kind of a way to prove where this should go. It doesn't matter if it's just,
Well,
there's
just
a lot going on here.
no, to relieve your minds, thank God it's not gonna cost us $6 million. The building's in great shape. We just need to put in basically some counters, for Desiree's office and for the assessor's office, and a couple of doors, and we're pretty much done.
It's all ADA compliant and everything
Yes,
else
it is.
currently? No, that's a big cost.
Yeah, so all
That's
that's,
an expensive proposition.
that's one of the reasons why when we look to move there. I know people have this perception that me and the mayor hate each other. I mean, we go to a lot of functions, same functions. We do talk. As I said, I went over to meet with him to discuss the building department. There's just one issue that we just don't agree on. But other than that, if Mike's got a question or a problem, he can call me anytime and I can call him. And but a lot of our stuff doesn't mix right now in the sense that there's that need. But we're not strangers to each other, and I think that perception, the town thinks that, I've heard people say, can we play in the same sand pit? Yeah, I think we can. I don't see it as a problem. There's one issue that is a problem, so everybody takes it that, we're like mortal enemies, but,
No,
we're not.
nobody's-
We're not.
Nobody's claiming you're mortal enemies. Whether you're playing the same sandbox or not in the same sandbox, here's the real deal, is you both serve an essential function that is vitally needed by the residents of this area, which the loss of either one of them would be devastating. So there's gotta be a way to work things out that works in the best interest of us, the constituent, and not the government entities.
No.
And that's what I
That's
believe.
exactly. Exactly, we all feel that way. Right now, we need to make our move, and if they wanna include us, because they're the ones that are building, not us, they can ask us, and if they haven't built by then, and something's coming up with the other building, and we have an opportunity to buy it, if they wanna come in, they're more than welcome. There's plenty of space, we don't have to bump into each other.
There's a lot of development going on, we figured we should release it somehow.
No problem, thank you. Thank you. It's Chris, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I know you have CJ.
It's my middle name,
Okay,
it's initials.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, so let's move on to the business of the town. The administrative business, I need an acceptance of the minutes for September 20th, 2018. I need a motion and a second.
I'll motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need the acceptance, so I'll need a motion for the work session minutes of 10/1/2018.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Bob. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Desiree, abstract number 19, please.
It contains vouchers 2018-1640 through 2018-1732 and totals $255,780.08.
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Desiree, I think you should have gotten two budget modifications.
I got one.
Okay, you can do that, I'll do the second one, because it came in late.
Okay, this is a modification to the budget of the Woodbury Common BID by decreasing SMB 3120.100 Police Personnel Service by $569 and increasing SMB 3120.403 Policing Other Agencies by $569.
Motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The second one, which I just received today, the following modification is needed to provide the appropriation for Castle Brothers repairs to the tennis courts at Berkeley Field. The source of funding will be reduction of parks contractual appropriations. A 0960 appropriations, A 7110.417 field maintenance by $569, and A 7110.462 repairs to material replacements at $3,611. And going into A 1620-474, parks repairs other, A 0960 appropriations for $4,180.
Mr. Supervisor, I think you might need the res. Berkeley Field.
And it says Berkeley Field.
Maybe you should table it to the next meeting, make sure.
Maybe we will.
Yeah,
Thank you for catching that.
Yeah, 'cause I think
Appreciate
I
it.
think it should be the res, because
Because we don't have tennis courts at Berkeley Field.
So, okay.
Okay, thank you. Not a problem. We'll table it. Thank you. Thank you for catching that, Tim. All right, we're gonna move on to new business. It's an appointment of Mr. John Morales to part-time position of court attendant at $18.01 per hour. This is a non-union position. The starting date would be October 9th, 2018. And as you recall, at the last board meeting, we had our part-timer resign, so, and I do have verification from the county accepting it, so, the position, so I need a motion and a second, please.
Motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We were handed out the other evening, the tentative budget for 2019 has been submitted to the town clerk, and it has been distributed to the town board. We don't need any motion second, just need an announcement that this was done. And by the way, it is on the webpage if you want to take a look at it. And we just received the Monroe Fire District also, and that's on the same page. I need a motion and a second to approve the 2018-2019 Justice Court Assistance Program. And as I stated earlier when it was questioned, this is a program that I need to sign, and the town board needs to approve in order for them to apply for grants.
I'll motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And lastly, the approval of the supervisor to sign the agreement with BAS for the Parks and Recreation webpage. I got it here. For the amount of, the Parks and Recreation system is at $7,000 for the license, The implementation of the services is $3,000. The software services total is $10,000. The equipment for making the cards is $2,000, and the annual support of maintenance is $15,000. I mean, for $3,000, for a total of $15,000. Relax it. So I need a motion and a second to approve that.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, anybody got any old business they want to discuss? Who said me? Oh, go.
So this has to do with the lease at 615 Route 32.
Okay,
So I prepared, the board hasn't seen it yet, but they understand. I prepared a resolution concerning the proposed lease. My firm did look at the lease agreement and proposed some modifications. And it's been provided to the landlord. I don't know if the landlord's attorney has it yet, but it's been provided to the landlord. So this is a resolution of the town board of the town of Woodbury authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement with WPC Associates LLC to lease space at 615 Route 32 to be used as a town hall. Whereas pursuant to town law 220.2, the town board wishes to lease space at the premises located at 615 Route 32 to be used as a town hall. And whereas the proposed lease agreement will be for a term of 3 years with an option for 2 additional years. And whereas the attorneys for the town have reviewed the lease and have proposed amendments thereto to the landlord. And whereas the town board wishes to authorize the supervisor to execute the lease agreement, subject to the landlord agreeing to the proposed modifications by the town's attorneys, and subject to compliance with the referendum on petition requirements of Town 190. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to execute the lease agreement, subject to the landlord agreeing to the proposed modifications by the attorneys for the town. And be it further resolved that within 10 days of the adoption of this resolution, the town clerk shall, in the same manner as provided for a special election, post and publish a notice which shall set forth the date of the adoption of this resolution, contain an abstract of this resolution concisely stating the purpose and effect thereof, and shall specify that such resolution was adopted subject to a permissive referendum. And you need a motion and a second and a vote. Motion.
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Go with it.
No secret reviews to be done on
Done.
Okay, anybody else with any old business?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to give an update on the dog park. The Boy Scouts, Brendan from the Boy Scouts, he's gonna be working on upgrading the apparatuses. I think the past apparatuses were updated or were created by the Girl Scouts. It was a Girl Scouts project, and so they are taking it on to replace the apparatuses that are there because they're very run down. So that's one of the things that they're working on for the dog park. And I know that when I met with Sarah from the library, the director of the library, she did mention that there is a program that a town program that they're going to, I know Robin, I feel that way, it's late. A town program where we'll be able, it's like an app, and I think it's Burbio, and it's an app that any business and town officials and nonprofits can add a calendar to this app, and so then you'll get notifications. It's kind of like what the schools use, Remind apps, it's a Burbio app. And so she is encouraging local businesses as well as town officials and town employees to use this app, to join the app, so that we can begin to create a community calendar that would give us alerts of things going on in town, and it'll make life a little easier when we're making notifications about events that are going on in town. So that's it.
Anybody else? Okay, so, let's open it up to public comment. How much time did you have remaining, John? I don't remember for the first.
Very short.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Again, John Smith, Highland Mills. As you know, I was at the preliminary budget hearing the other day and so forth like that. And I want to tell you, I think there were some big discrepancies in that budget, especially when you turn over to the first or the second page. Excuse me. Mr. Hunter hit it right on the head when he's made some comments about the salaries. Some of them seem to be excessive, and there seem to be some discrepancies as far as people who didn't receive any raises at all or whatever. I'm only bringing that up now because I don't know if in the future we get another chance to address that. And you also said that you wanted to discuss it with the rest of the board at some time in the future.
Correct.
So basically my question is, I'm being very general of course, is have you had a chance to discuss it? I don't really think so. And two, will we get another chance to comment later on?
John, there will be a public hearing. It's held in November, probably the first meeting in November. There will be a public hearing. You'll have the opportunity to make your comments on the budget. I discussed at that meeting that on the 17th, we should have all 5 board members here, and we can discuss salaries. I will say though, for people that work for the town, the personnel that we're gonna be discussing, we will probably go into a closed session to discuss them, because I don't think that it's right to discuss people who work for this town and whatever's gonna be dead, and then having it seen on Facebook before the person has even talked about it. So for those purposes, probably at the end of the meeting, if we've still got time, we will go into a session to just discuss salaries of everybody. And if we don't have enough time, I will have a third date, and we'll do it then.
Yeah, I'm just interested that we get another chance.
You will have a
to comment and
chance.
so forth.
Yes, you will.
I would just like to give you a little advice. You might want to follow the same direction that the legislature, the Orange County legislature took, and that was no raises at all.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Deputy Supervisor.
No comments tonight?
Desiree? You spoke. Sergeant Caruso, I think you've got a few things.
Share, since you're not using it?
It's okay, he's not gonna let me talk.
Apparently so.
I just wanted to bring up that this is Columbus Day weekend, so anticipate some heavy delays on the south end of town. If you guys have to go south, I would strongly encourage you, between the construction and just the extra traffic, to plan a different route if you can. Also, you may see some of our officers are going to be a little more pink than usual for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we're gonna have some ribbons on the cars, and all officers are gonna be wearing a ribbon on their uniform. So if you guys see that, encourage them. And just Halloween's coming up at the end of the month, and just be aware there's a curfew along with the different town events that are going on. If you guys need any clarification on the curfew, I'm sure you can see Desiree, or I'm sure we'll put something out from the PD as well. That's it for me.
Mr. McKay, you look like you want to say something.
No comment. I just have a few matters to discuss with the board in attorney-client session.
Okay, no problem.
5 minutes.
Okay. Just a few words from myself. On the 14th is the walk at Woodbury Commons. Is it, that's for the, cancer walk, is it? The breast cancer?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, the breast cancer. Registration starts at 7 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, and they start walking around 9.
Yeah, it's usually about an hour.
Okay, okay. So if you have the time and you wanna get involved, it would be a great place to be on that morning. And as Sergeant said, please, you know that the traffic's gonna be rough this weekend. Most of those roads are missing already, so there's very few roads. Please use the back roads. We all know them, and if at all, every opportunity, please do so. With that, we're gonna go into attorney-client privilege, but first we're gonna close the board meeting. And I got a big chair from Desiree, who I noticed, since the Bears are in first place, she hasn't given us a Green Bay Packer update, but that's okay. So I need a motion and a second to close.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a great evening and a better week.
No, I thought.